The security light error, or the P1631 error on the C5 Corvette, is one frustrating error to have. It will cause the Corvette to not start. Put the key in, nothing happens at all. It is a very frustrating thing to have happen, but luckily for me, I got it fixed finally. And I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what happened. So, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back finally. We're back. It's been a minute since I've been home and actually filmed a updated video and everything. So we're back from our cross-country road trip inside of the Jeep Wrangler JLU. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. It'll be linked down below. But today we're talking about the Corvette. So a couple things have happened off camera. The Corvette, finally I got it fixed. I actually winded up taking it to the dealership. So if you guys don't know, the error that was happening was with the Corvette. I was having a security light issue. So with the key in the Corvette, I'll put it in, try to start it, nothing would happen at all. Now this is different than when you put the key in, you turn the ignition and it goes to the pull key, wait 5 seconds. It's not that error, and it's not the lockout error that some people get where the column will just lock up and you can't turn the steering wheel, which turns out that was a whole big issue as well. And it's not if the battery's dead either. So it's a completely different issue. So there's multiple things that can happen when you put the key inside the ignition with the C5 Corvette. This is something completely different. With me, put the key in, turn it, nothing would happen. Had plenty of juice. I tried to jump it, nothing would happen at all. It was just really frustrating that this would just happen. So I took it into Chevy, just to a Chevy dealership, because of tried finding other places around. I tried doing some home remedies that I saw online. There was a process that you could do. I don't remember it fully. Put the key in, you do some type of sequence, turning it on, turning it off, putting it into the on position, leaving the key in for 5 minutes or something like that. That actually did wind up working for a second. The security light inside of the vehicle did go off. It went off for a while, but then it came back on after maybe 10 minutes. It just came back on. So, interesting thing. So, the original key that I had with the car, it was this key. Actually funny, my very first car, which was a hoopty, it was a 96 Chevy Lumina, had this same style key, this very old school key. This is the key that came with the vehicle when I purchased it from the dealership. It's actually funny, I remember my dad had a really old, I think it was the Suburban. I think it was this same style key. So it's definitely the early 90s style key. Apparently the issue was the car did not recognize the key, which a lot of people have said online, where the little chip that's inside of the key itself, it's not giving off the right I guess frequency, I guess that's probably the right term. It's not, I think it's ohms. It's not giving off the right whatever inside of the actual ignition switch. So when I would put it on, I have to play with it to make it work. So what they winded up doing was redoing the key, which that was the whole process, because they were saying they had to get the right key and everything like that. So I have a newer style key, which is this, which is actually interesting. My sister, it's she had this same style Chevy key. I think her car was a 2009 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was a 2009 Cobalt. So the early, more newer key. So they were able to replace the ignition switch, the key, and everything like that, and the car works now a lot better. I'm happy to report I've been able to drive the thing. I plan on daily driving this for a while, so that's pretty cool. So that was the big issue. I know I've seen online people having frustrating issues with this, because it is frustrating. You get into the car and you can't drive it. So I'm happy to know at least this has fixed that issue. The car definitely still has some other issues for sure, but that was the biggest thing that was preventing me from driving it on the daily basis, because it was just to the point where if I needed to do anything, I was scared that the car wouldn't start, alongside with the battery drain issue and then everything else. So that was just another thing I'm happy to report that is, at least that part of it is fixed. But with that being said, the total cost for it was actually under $300. I forgot the actual, actually no, I have it. Everything said and done, it was $315. It was $306, but after everything, it came out to be $315. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily the cheapest fix, but it wasn't necessarily the most expensive thing I've ever had done. So I could have probably gone somewhere else. Maybe they would have done it cheaper, but For me, the biggest issue was other places that I contacted, they basically said they didn't want to do any type of electronics with the car. So that kind of sucks. And even actually going to the dealership, it took them a while to get the parts, which I'm finding to be kind of strange and kind of weird, because if it's a Chevy dealership and they couldn't even get the parts themselves. A lot of people do say like, oh yeah, you can get a Corvette, you can, you know, it's fine, the parts are readily available. To my own experience, and at least what my service tech was telling me, he was like, hey, even though yeah, it's still a Corvette, it's still a 2000, and it is harder to get some of the parts, and some of the parts they've stopped making as well. So, you know, I guess that plays into the factor of everything as well. Like some people are saying like, yeah, you know, you'll always be able to get parts for it, but at least from my experience so far, my service tech was telling me like everything that they had, they don't make anymore. So, you know, it's just a factor of it, you know. Yeah, these things are getting older. So which that also makes me very happy that I did get a C5 and not a C4. I can only imagine trying to get parts for the C4. There are definitely other places, especially out here inside LA, that specialize inside like retro Corvettes and everything like that, and like they source parts easier. That's even what my service tech told me, because he has a Corvette and he told me like, hey, go to this other place. I think they're called J&D. I'll have it linked down below, but he said like they can source out a lot of parts too if you need certain things. So that's another thing you have to be worried about. But yeah, so I'm really happy to report the car is back running. It's doing fine. I definitely plan on daily driving this thing as much as I possibly can, and just having a blast with this thing. I am going to be installing another part onto the Corvette. I'm going to probably install it off camera, but then show you guys when it's done. I'm excited. Just another thing that I've been waiting to do to the Corvette that finally came in. It took it a very long time, but I do understand shipping and everything like that, like getting parts for a lot of stuff. Everything just got backed up, so I understand that. But that will be in the next video. But if you haven't seen this video, check this video out right here. This was our road trip with these 2018 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. It was such a blast going. I honestly loved it. It was such a fun time doing it. Check that video out. See you in the next one.